All right, so another special edition that I don't know. At the Jimmy and I both feel really strongly about this. Chan, thank you very much for the introduction. We
Of
had
course.
Zhenia on it was a couple weeks ago
Yeah.
to talk about what's going on in Ukraine. She was still there. I think she managed to get out since, but like that the update that we got from you, Zhenia, back then was I think it's just really important for everybody to understand what's going on at not only like a detail level, but at a human level. So it's really good for us to be able to hear from you. And we got a link I'm going to post in the comments here. Again, connected with Weekend Games. That's Nazar. That's Our Planet. These are all people that we know and we work with, every day
Yeah.
in the ecosystem. They've got some NFTs up on Atomic Hub that we can buy and sort of support their efforts. So, Zenia, how are you doing? And maybe give us a little bit of an update.
Yeah, thanks for having me here, and I'm glad to have ability to tell about what happens in Ukraine. There are scary things happens, yeah, and I wanted to tell you some numbers, and I thought about which numbers I wanted to tell. And the most scary one that 109 kids were killed since the war began. Yeah, and I know about more than 2,000 civilians were killed. But then I thought that really we don't know the real numbers,
Right.
because we have one big Ukrainian city under blockade. It's Mariupol. It has population nearly 500,000. Yeah, and I think maybe 100 flew, but still they are almost 400 there, and we don't know if they will be able to live, because there are no food, there are no delivering, there's no food, no water, no electricity. They were bombing, they've been bombing every day, a few times a day. Yeah, and that's why I think when we will know the real numbers about dead people, it will be just huge. Yeah, and also about numbers. Yesterday, I read the scary thing. It was a result of polling provided by independent Russian sociologist, and the result of this polling like this: 71% of Russians support this war. Yeah, and those who support this war, they feel such like joy, proud, and hope. These emotions they feel when they were asked about war, and that's why it's very scary. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they support it, and we have to know that we can't blame only Putin, because it's not just his hands who throw the bombs, who rape our Ukrainian women, who killed the pregnant women and little kids. There, I think you maybe you've read about the airstrike of prenatal hospital in Melitopol. Yeah,
Yep.
they were wounded 17 pregnant women, and one of them died.
Yeah.
And one of them, hopefully, she, thanks God, she gave birth the next day after airstrike. Also, that was a big about the Russian soldiers. There was a drama theater in Mariupol was bombed, and there were hiding more than 1,000 people. And near this drama theater, big letters was written, "Children from both sides." But it's not stopped the Russian soldiers, and that's why I don't know. We began lost our hope to humanity and just in these people. How could they do this? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean that we know, state TV in Russia is basically the only way that most of them get any news, right? And at the beginning, the excuse for the war was that you were all Nazis, which is really stupid. But again, Fox News proves that if you repeat stupid things enough, people will believe them. Here in the States, and then I guess just recently they've pivoted to, oh well, now it's a big U.S. led bioweapons thing in Ukraine, right? So it's like they
Yeah,
changed the lie, right? It's just like, again, they'll repeat the lie a gazillion times, and it really seems like just a huge percentage, like a tragic percentage of Russian people will just eat that shit up, and that is just really, really, really sad. And to your point about about the hospital and about the theater, it's really obvious now that the Russians are doing exactly what they did in Syria, which is bombing actual human places to try and depopulate whole areas, right? To make people so afraid to leave. There was a bread line that got shelled, right? Like that, like they're doing this shit on purpose, which is just to say that like there's nothing that any of us can do to support this that's going to be enough. We should constantly be thinking about what we can do to do more. I was talking to somebody who knows some people in Poland. They're scared there now too because it's not going to stop with Ukraine, right? Like if this works, they'll just keep doing it. Crimea, Georgia, like that. It's painfully obvious, right? With even like a tiny little, a bit of recent history, just the last 10 years. This is just what they're doing. They nibble, 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 and the West has basically just been appeasing them, right? And like appeasing, just Google appeasing 1939, right? Like this is stuff that we've seen before.
Yeah.
And it doesn't end well. So thank you very much for giving us the update. That 71% number it's galling.
Yeah. I talked to someone in Lithuania. She said all the stores are empty, all the grocery stores. And all the people in her age group, or she's in her 30s, are thinking of relocating because they see it. And their grandparents are like, we've seen this before.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense to not want to be around it. But I mean, the all the more power then to the people in Ukraine that are just like, nah, like it's a really big deal. And so we've got in the comments a link to NFTs, and I think like where those funds are going, I'd love for you to speak on that. But I think like the last I heard it was going for
military equipment,
equipment, protective gear, like just stuff that bootstrapping this stuff to basically help the people that are actually on the front line of this insanity.
Zhenia, if you can talk about the campaign that you guys are running on the NFTs, the Weekend Dev, where the money is going to and what fronts.
Weekend launched a special NFT collection to support Ukrainian soldier and to buy the protective equipment to our soldiers, and we will buy some things and already delivered to them, and I think we will report all our purchasing, and we will show it. And it's very important to have protective gears for soldiers because now it's all hope for them, really.
Well, maybe you can. You left, right? The second time you left. Maybe you can tell people like how I put you in contact with a military escort, and we had different people to talk with. But who actually walked you out? I mean, maybe you should tell people so people really understand like how serious and how dangerous this is.
In the morning when my neighbor counted over our houses, 24 missiles. They flew to the Yavoriv field where soldiers used to train. Yeah, and this day the 35 residents of this Yavor polygon were killed. Yes, then I decide I have to leave the country as soon as possible. Yeah, we packed. It's difficult to describe how you have to pick up the things because you have all your house, but you have to pack in one backpack because maybe you will not return at this house. Yeah. We were going to the Hungarian border. My husband drove me and our two kids to the border, and then we just crossed the border by foot. Yeah, there was no queue, no line at that moment, and the Hungarians welcomed us. They gave us hot tea. They gave some sweets to kids and even arranged the transport. And we went by bus to the Vienna. So I wonder why there are a lot of kind people around the world, but not Russians.
Yeah. I mean, it speaks to me. There is a lot of people involved, and I've given you names of, like Yoru's involved, and she's working on the Czech border. There's people driving in from the Hungarian border. 4 kids were killed driving over the Polish border who aren't Ukrainian, who were ambushed by Russians, and all their medical supplies were burned. I mean, it's people don't know what's on the news, but the things being shared are brutal. But the humanity surrounding, like Corey and Jimmy and the uplifting team, are very supportive. Like everybody wants to know, and they appreciate Zhenia you sharing this, what's happening. Can you tell people what Nazar is doing? Nazar was and is the CEO of Weekend Dev, and they have 3 games. But maybe you can give some insight what he's doing on a day-to-day basis. And your husband is a developer. What are they doing now? Like, what now is their life? Because it's not clearly they're not coding.
Yeah, the life is different for them now, but I know that a team tries to keep the working. They try to keep the schedule because we promised our players to deliver the game at the end of the April, and they are trying to do their best to keep these promises. But they have a lot of things to do because all who are not fighting the field, they have to help soldiers. And when I was home, then Lviv was one of the safest cities in Ukraine, and me and my neighbors and other part of our team, they keep refugees from other cities, and yeah, we helped them. So all these days, we just trying to do everything possible to help the army and to help Ukrainian people. Just not them some defensive equipment, but those we have to help people who left without their homes, without any stuffs, because sometimes they fled without anything, even without some spare clothes.
Okay.
All right.
And you're leaving also. You're leaving Vienna now. What's your next plan?
It's such a difficult question. Yeah, the one good man, it's acquaintance of my friend. He invited us to live in his house, but sure, it's temporary decision. And now we are looking for apartment, and we've been told it's very difficult now because all European cities are crowded because of Ukrainian refugees, yes, and all not with very high prices apartment been rented already, and the next problem, we don't know which term we have to look for apartment because we were hope and dream to come back home. Yeah, I used to have my bookshelf for my back all the time, and it's really difficult to be far away from everything you love.
Yeah, I hope this ends soon. I really do.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Yeah, thank you, ladies, for coming on again, Zhenia, for having the courage to chat with us initially. Not without risk, and thanks for the update. Now, I hope everything works out really good. I hope you find way more kindness. I've just been sharing this link all around while we've been chatting, and got the link out to the to the NFT line. And yeah, you said you guys are we're gonna be releasing some that are a little bit cheaper. I think the lowest cost was 150. I think we're gonna release some stuff that is a little bit cheaper for that, so everybody will be able to help out with whatever they have. Yeah, we just know that we love you guys. Like, we're in this wax ecosystem. We're neighbors. And so again, anything that we can do, anytime you have any stuff like this that goes out, just let us know and we'll amplify it as much as we can.
And there are top 21 block producers for all this too.
Right?
Right?
Yeah.
And Kafer's been a very instrumental. They're the old IG helping with Nazard trying to get some stuff out there too. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
awesome.
awesome. All right.
Thank you,
yeah,
Corey.
I guess it is a small but cool thing that our kind of wax ecosystem can kind of come together around stuff like this too. So that's cool. All right. Thanks, ladies. And again, Zhenia, anytime ever, just let me know and we'll get you back on. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Cool.
Bye.
All right. Cheers.